I am shocking this chicken with some hot water, boiling water. Yeah. It's a Caribbean thing. You couldn't follow me, huh, little girl? Good morning, good morning. Hola, hola, hola. Bonjour, everyone. Buenos días, ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo están? Yo estoy bien. Hola, Robin. Good morning. All right, for those of you who don't know, I'm making a jerk seasoning. I could have done it last night, but I wanted you guys to see me make the paste. You could do, when you're doing a jerk, you could do a dry rub, or you could do a paste. I'm doing a paste. Good morning. And I just wanted you to see me making it. So, alrighty. I got to follow my recipe because there's a lot that goes in this. So jerk really means that you do a seasoning mix, and then initially they used to use it for pork. And then you know how you take a knife and then you poke at the meat and then you rub it with the seasoning just to make sure all the seasoning gets really into the meat. That's what jerk means. But now we do jerk seasoning, we do chicken, we do jerk fish, we do jerk vegetables. I think for fish and veggies, I think it's a bit much because with those, you don't need that much seasoning. And I personally feel that when you put so much into a seasoning and then you put it on a vegetable, I think you can lose the integrity of the veggie, but that's a personal opinion, okay? So I always put onions in all my mixes, so I'm gonna put a little bit of onion. And first of all, I wanna tell you, I'm having very little chicken here today. Last time I made the chicken wing, the first time I tried 3 wings, I was like, oh, I'm okay. So the last time when we made it here, I went full blown. Oh my goodness. It took me about a week for my tummy to get back to normal. So I'm like, I need to leave the chicken alone. So I went to the market this morning and I just had 4 pieces of dog meat, 2 legs and 2 thighs. But certainly you can jerk a whole chicken. I've seen people take the chicken, you know how you cut off the spine and then you flatten it, you know, with the legs out. You could do that, especially jerk chicken tastes best if you put it on a hot grill. So if you have a grill outside, marinate your chicken and then the next day, put it on that grill on low, okay? Because you know that for chicken, you need to reach an internal temperature of 165. Otherwise, you may get sick. So don't be in a rush. Don't ever eat raw chicken. You could die, okay? So if you're doing the grill, put it on the grill, make sure you control the temperature, cover it so it will cook faster, and use a thermometer. So if you stick the thermometer when your chicken, because you know overcooked chicken gets rubbery too. So you know, like, as I said, a good cook, you know how to control temperature, and you don't have to cook something until it twisted for it to be good. That's why I say if you tell a chef you want your steak well done, it's like, oh, yes. We don't like to hear that because you take away from the taste and the integrity and the texture of the meat. But chicken, because of the risk of salmonella and all these other bugs, you want to make sure your chicken is at temperature. So if you're cooking the chicken and then you put the thermometer in there, it says 155, you can take it out and let it rest on a dish somewhere. Because when you rest your meat, whether it's chicken, whether it's a steak, you stabilizing the juices. Good morning. You stabilize the juices so that everything stays in. That's why if you're cooking a turkey, we tell people you don't need to keep opening the oven, basting it, thinking that's going to make your turkey moist. No, because the more you keep opening the oven, you're just messing up with the temperature, the steadiness of the temperature. So what you need to do when you take your turkey, your chicken, or whatever, you finish cooking them, take them out and let them rest for 10-15 minutes. You stabilize all the juices before you cut into it. When you cut into it and you see all the juices flowing out, that's what happened. That's why your meat gets tough and dry. A little tip of the day. All right. So when you take your jerk chicken off the grill, if it's at 155, when you let it rest, the rest of the temperature would increase so that before you eat it, you check it again. It should be at 165 or above. Most foodborne illnesses result because food is not kept at the right temperature, not cold enough or not warmed up to temperature. Okay? So that's why even this week they were saying that they went to this restaurant somewhere in town. I'm not going to mention the place. And then you see chicken sitting out. That's bugs are just waiting to get in there. And if you start eating that chicken, you'll get sick. The last food poisoning I got was in New York City at a Chinese restaurant. And in my mind, I was thinking, if it's fried, all the bugs are killed. That is not true. Because if the meat is bad to start with, it doesn't matter how you fry it, you can still get sick. There was a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant at a strip mall where I used to live. And one day I opened the door and then the smell of, I don't want to say rotten, but bad chicken just hit me. And I just did a 360, just walked out. It's like a 180, I should say. And I was like, I can't. So be careful where you eat and how your food is maintained. Sorry, I'm getting on a soapbox this morning because I tell people, every time you take yourself to a restaurant, you put in your life in this person's hand. You trusting that they are treating your food the way it's supposed to be treated, that it's clean, that they wear gloves, that there is no cross-contamination, especially with your salad, your lettuces and stuff. Oh. Or if somebody has some gloves, they, oh, we wear gloves. But how often do you change the gloves? I went to a restaurant one time, I think I was at a seminar, and then we went, and you remember how they used to have those big taco salads in the US? It's like a big old shell, and then you could, add kind of like, what's this restaurant that does that? And you get a lot of mixes and you can make your salad. Well, this little girl, she had plastic gloves on, and then she came and what did she do? Right, she didn't even use a spoon. She just grabbed a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and she did the salad. Then she went straight to the cash register, was giving change, and then she came back with the same gloves. I was like, excuse me? I'm like, I'm not buying that. You didn't change your gloves. So be careful, you guys. Good morning, Greta. Fastest growing. Yes, so your health is your responsibility. That's why, when I travel, I hardly get sick because I don't eat street food like most people say, because street food, the knife that they're using, the spoon, you don't know how they if they washed it, and if it's come from their homes, how was the prep? So eat at home. Learn to cook your own food. Hi, Robin. We don't know yet. I think people are just digesting the news this week. I know that there are some people from different parties, political parties, there is chatter going on, but the general public probably has not and haven't gotten to understand exactly what's happening, because some of the information is contradictory. They don't they don't jive. So we're hearing one side say one thing and the other side says the other, so we don't know. But I am very alert. I'm trying to kind of gauge if I see anything. When I have to say I haven't seen anything yet. All right, guys, so let's do this jerk seasoning. I'm putting some fresh ginger, and I have a little bit of onions in here. Definitely some garlic. So I debated what to cook with this, with the jerk chicken. I was gonna make like a mash, a potato mash, and then I changed my mind. So I'm gonna cook some arroz con guandules, con pigeon peas. I'm gonna do a little bit of rice with pigeon peas. And then I went back yesterday and got me another bag of Swiss chard. So we're gonna do Swiss chard. I look for green beans because I had some almonds here. I thought I would make some green bean almondine. And then the green beans that I saw, I couldn't buy them. They didn't look like green beans that I'm familiar with. They were like thicker, they were not green, and I was like, no, I need some contrast. I need green. So we're not doing that. So I have some beets boiling, remolacha, which is what they call it here, remolacha. And we're gonna do the Swiss chard so that when we plate it, we're gonna have a little bit of elevation. And I also went and got some sweet plantain. You know, if you're cooking Jamaican or Caribbean and you say curry chicken, oh my God, yesterday, it's the hilarious thing. I think it was TikTok or Instagram. But anyway, we're gonna do a little bit of sweet plantain. If you're looking at a Jamaican plate of jerk chicken, usually you're gonna see rice and peas, you're gonna see steamed cabbage, and then you're gonna see sweet plantain. Right? That's the plate that you're gonna see. But today, okay, Dammy, it's early for you to be taken off. Bye-bye. I tell you. So we're gonna be doing something different. So we're gonna put our rice, and then we're gonna put our Swiss chard, and then we're gonna put the chicken, and I gotta figure out where I'm gonna sit the remolacha, because, you know, I want that contrast of green and red. Oh, you too, Admiral? Well, you're gonna truck yourself, sir. All right, so that's what we're doing today. The rice won't take long. And then, like I said, it's best to do your seasoning and put your chicken, marinate it overnight. But we won't have time, so I'm just gonna marinate it for like 5 minutes, okay? You know, I was telling someone when I first returned from the US this last time, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad, because when I was over there, my heart was so heavy. And because when I was there, every 2 minutes I would go, you know, a big sigh, which was a way for me to kind of express, release some pressure, you know, doubt, sadness, anger, whatever it was. And then I was so happy when I got here. It was like, oh, I feel lighter. Well, you know, the heaviness has returned. So I have to be real careful and be aware of my emotions these days. You know, I'll be watching something and then the tears would come. All right, we're gonna I have a big bunch of cilantro. I told you about this cilantro with the roots. I haven't put it in water yet, but that's the plan. So we're gonna put some cilantro. And it's only 4 pieces of chicken, so I don't need a whole lot. And then we're gonna put the dry stuff. All right. Now a little bit of oil, because otherwise you're not gonna be able to mix this stuff here. All right. We also need lime juice. It's chicken, so you need some acid, right? Ooh, nice lime. You always roll your lime or lemon before you cut it to just release the juices. You get a lot more juices when you roll it, okay? Little tricks of the trade. All right. So now I have tomato, which is thyme. We're gonna put some dry thyme. And again, if you say how much, Maggie, I'm gonna say a little bit, a little bunch. Black pepper. Keeping in mind how much meat you go into marinade. I have some dried parsley. I'm gonna put a little bit in there. I already have cilantro, so I don't need a whole lot of that. I have a little bit of sage. I don't need to, but sage goes well with meat. So I'm gonna put a little bit. I have some cayenne when I was looking for organic ground cayenne. So I'm just gonna put one. This is dried chili peppers, okay? Then basil, no basil. I got cayenne, paprika, definitely paprika. Cumin, and I also put ginger. Remember ginger, okay? You have to do that. Red pepper flakes, but one of the most important thing you want to put in your jerk seasoning, you have to have cloves. Cloves here, they are called clavitos de olor. Okay? Now that's strong stuff. But that's what jerk calls for. Okay? Clavito de olor. Now it's strong, so you don't need to do a lot, put a lot. Now me, because I love romero, I'm gonna put some rosemary. I have some fresh ones. Rosemary goes well with any meat, okay? So I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there. That's why it goes well with steak. When you're doing steak, you get some fresh rosemary in your butter and you baste it. Ooh, yum, yum. All right. And remember I told you when you are cooking poultry, ginger, it does something to the mix. The other thing you want to be sure you have is allspice. Definitely allspice. I had a hard time finding ground allspice, okay? So I'm going to just crush some here. If I had one of those little small, like I had at home, the pulverizer, when you just do that to your coffee and whatever beans you have, I don't have that. I need to get another one. All right, so we're gonna put allspice is a must. I think Jamaicans cook a lot with allspice. We don't so much, you know, in our Haitian cuisine. We don't eat that, we don't use that a lot, but they do. They even put it in their rice. You know what, I think I have to put it in a, I think that's the best way to do it. Put it in like a little baggie and then crush it. Okay. Now we're gonna crush it. You do what you have to do. Allspice. All right. So we have salt, pepper, allspice, red pepper flakes, cayenne. Yep, we have the 2 cayenne. We have to put the Scotch bonnet peppers. Now, peppers here in Panama, we don't find Scotch bonnet, but they have something called ají chumbo. Ají chumbo, I just looked it up. It is the habanero, okay? So don't be looking for Scotch bonnet, but if you see ají chumbo, that's the hot kind of, you know, habanero pepper. So I'm going to put a whole one in there with the seeds. If you remember, if you leave the seeds, that's where the heat is, in the seeds. And just don't rub your eyes afterward. When I make a piece, you put a bunch of these in there. All right, let's see, what am I missing? You need some dark soy sauce, a little bit of dark, because that's what's going to give you that dark color. And also, some recipes call for the liquid, the brown liquid thing, but I'm just never happy with that. I'm always worried that it's not so healthy. Oh, and dark brown sugar. I went looking for dark brown sugar. I couldn't find it in a little bag like I would find at Walmart. And then I was like, oh, Domino, dark brown sugar. Look at this. This is not dark brown. But I don't have a choice. All right, about 1 tablespoon. And make sure I have everything. Paprika, Scotch bonnet, green onions I didn't have, so I use regular onion. Brown liquid, garlic, cloves, cumin, nutmeg. Aha. Moscato. Nutmeg. That's why I have to look at my recipe. Can you think of the taste? You got nutmeg, you have garlic, you have ginger. It's a winner. Morning, Julie, George. Yes. All right, let's see. Parsley or cilantro, thyme, rosemary, jalapenos, I don't have it. Dark soy, EVOO, allspice, ginger. We're good. I didn't miss anything. So if you guys want, I can put that on the page for you. But that is my recipe. But also remember, you can take all the dry spices and make a rub out of it. You can do that too, if that's what you want. Let's say you want to make some ribs. That would be a good recipe for a rub. But once you go down the allspice and the ginger, you just going into the jerk realm. Okay. So good. But you know what I did not put in there? Salt. You gotta have salt. But I have the soy sauce, so I have to be careful. Let me taste it first. Yeah, a little bit of salt. I think I need a little bit more acid. More lime juice. And believe it or not, I need a little bit more heat. These are also ahi chumbo that I bought yesterday. That's still hot. If it says picante, that means it's hot. But most of the peppers here are sweet. So I always say, picante. They'll say, no, dulce. It's like that. Because me, I just put them whole in a lot of things that I cook. But I'm going to put a whole one in here. Again, because if you're going to do jerk, it's going to be, it has to be a little hot. Oh, yes. Yes, oh, it's perfect. Ooh, wow. I feel the heat. I think it still needs a little salt. Un poquito de sal. This is your jerk marinade. You see it? Lovely, isn't it? I know, George. It's amazing. All right, so my chicken is clean. So I'm gonna put it in. Whew. Yummy. As I said, ideally, you want to marinate this. I just don't want my hand in all this, but I guess I'm gonna have to. You want to marinate this overnight. So when you put that chicken on the grill, the smell and the taste is gonna be amazing. So you gotta give yourself time to create things, you know, to get good food and good flavor. I mean, that's all I'm about. And I always say, if you want quick, I'm not your girl. I don't believe in just quick eating. And that's what I said. I wasn't gonna make it at Disney. Somebody hasn't gotten killed in there. This do single, what is that? Okay, so we're gonna let it sit here for like 5 minutes, okay? Ooh, I still have some extra. Maybe I'll save this for something, I don't know, since I have to stay away from the meat. Can't do it, I paid for it. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. And I thought if we had time, I would show you how I make my marinara because I'm out. And a good cook is never out of marinara because it is something that you can just toss some pasta in. I even put it in my quinoa. I put it in my, if I make like veggie burgers, you know, bean burgers. So, all right, we can start with the rice. I bought some jasmine rice yesterday. I just think I like it better. So even though it costs a little more, you know, when my kids were little, I used to buy the 25-pound bag of jasmine rice for like, you know, at that time it was around $20. Now they're like $35, $40. But when you cook that rice, after you wash it, and it's so nice and glistening, and it's just something about beautifully cooked white rice. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me see, which pan am I gonna use? And I know for the person who worries about using aluminum, I'm sorry, but as a Caribbean woman, we have to have those, and that's what we cook with. And as I said, I live to be 66, so I'm grateful. And if something happened now, it's just, it's my time, okay? And even somebody wrote to me and say, "Oh, I see something peeling on top of your stove. I don't want it to fall into your food." I was like, oh, they are so caring. But yeah, it's just something that's peeling, but it didn't fall into my food. Brown liquid seasoning, yeah. It's got your name? No. Oh, Maggie. Oh, is it a Maggie liquid? Well, there's Maggie everything here, especially the tomato product. Everything. Maggie seasoning, sazon, all kinds of things. Yeah. Yeah, no. I just want to know what's in it. What's in it to make it brown? I don't trust those kind of things. All right. So anything that is pre-made, pre-preserved, I look at with suspicion, right? Okay, so we're gonna start with, I have some onions here. I'm gonna chop some garlic. I have a bouquet garni. I have a little bit of coconut milk. And again, I'm gonna try not to make a lot. Maybe enough to share with my friend upstairs, downstairs. She's downstairs. But, and also for next week, you guys, next week is Easter. Today is Palm Sunday. And I am hoping, I want to go to church. They have like a procession here in Panama City that is, I'm going for Good Friday because it's like the, you know, not a whole country, the whole city, but lots of people come and they do a procession from one church to another. And inside Casco, we have 7 different churches that are very ornate and old, you know, with history. Hola, Joe. And last year I visited all 7. I did 6 of them because one of them was closed. Maybe I want to do that again. It's kind of a nice thing to do on a day when I don't want to stay in the house. But on Friday, you know, Jesus' death, everything is somber. They have a band and people are walking with the long clothes and dark and brown. It's very somber. And then they're carrying the float. It's like a float with the picture of Jesus, you know, of the cross in there. And then on Sunday, it's a little bit more joyous. Of course, it's Resurrection Sunday. And we go from one church and another church, and then they all meet at the cathedral. It's like one float is, and people are carrying this thing and going like boom, 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 boom. The first time I saw this when I was in Las Tablas 2 years ago, and then there's the float with the picture of Jesus and another picture of Mary, and then they run towards each other, and then everybody starts clapping, the bell starts. It was amazing. And then they spread this confetti looking thing, and then the bells, everybody's jumping, and then the music changes to like joy. You know, I mean, I am not Catholic anymore. I used to be, but it's just lovely to watch people really get into this and really enjoy, you know, Resurrection Sunday. So Sunday, yeah, it's really something. And the thing also I realized, this is a remnant of the Spanish colonization, because it's the same thing in Europe and all throughout South America, because they're all mostly Catholic, right? And but that one with all the confetti and I know the bells ringing because we got so many churches, everybody's rejoicing. I was like, oh wow, this is cool. So I want to do that on Sunday. So I don't think it starts at 9. So I don't think I'm going to be able to cook. I wanted to, you know, show you some things that they cook here for Easter, but I don't think I can make it work next week, 9 o'clock. So I'm going to miss next week. I was going to say, let's do it Saturday, but I teach my Spanish class at 10, and we always go over, so it's just not possible. So I'm sorry, I'm going to miss next week. Thank you so much for leaving your thing on. You know, the last few videos I've not done very well. You know, I'm not worried about it because that's what YouTube is. And I see a definite change in the algorithm. I'm sure somebody made some changes to it. All right, so we're not gonna meet next Sunday, but you know, we're here today. So I have my, it's hot. My dish here. I keep running my mouth. I could have just done the garlic. But yeah, things are a bit different here. Yeah, like Ecuador is gonna have some elections, so we're gonna pray that everything go okay. I don't know if you heard, you know, when things happen in Ecuador too. It's like everywhere. It seems like there's no way to turn. Nowhere to run. So we're making some rice with pigeon peas. And as I said, I like pigeon peas better than guandu that they have here. Those little beans, I'm not sure. Maybe they're an acquired taste, but I cooked them the first time this past holiday season, and I didn't like the way my rice came out. All right. Now, I do have a little bit of that jerk seasoning here, but I think for the rice again, that would be too much. It's got the sugar and stuff in it, even though they add sugar to the rice here in Panama, which I don't do. I never know what that beep is. So I always ignore it. It will stop. No idea what that is. Okay, I think we can put our chicken in now. So I'm gonna put it on broil first, and then we're gonna turn it. I don't want to waste all that goodness. Oh, that is such good seasoning. So good. All right. So, our chicken's going in. Now this fancy stove, I don't even know where the broiler button is. But anyway, all right. Garlic, fresh garlic. I went home to see if I could bring my pilon, which is the peso. I couldn't find one that I wanted. I had one that was made of marble. It was heavy. And it's like, who wants to carry this? So, all right. fresh garlic. Smells good. So I put the bouquet in here, and I'm gonna put a whole habanero. Where is it? Chumbo. Ají chumbo. This is my other one. Oh, here it is. Usually I go for the red, that means they're riper, so I'm gonna put a whole one in here. Okay? And then once I do that, then I am going to put the peas. I'm gonna rinse some of it, but I wanna keep the water, or do I? I do have, maybe not. I do have some stock, so I'm good. All right, so just drain them. Now, I like the pigeon peas because they look like this, whereas the little guandu here, they're black and they're a lot smaller. I'm not too much of a fan. But it doesn't matter. That's what they use here. And then I'm going to season, okay? Pepper. Paprika. Adobo. And slap your mama. That's all I'm gonna put. And salt if I need to. I do have some vegetable stock. You know, also, somebody had asked me if I make fish soup. I think I'm going to make one time. The stock for fish is called a fumet. A fumet is like if you're cooking fish, you take the head off or the tail or the spine. And then when you do shrimp, you peel the shrimp. You take all of that peel and stuff, you put it in water and some veggies, that's a fumet. Slap your mama. Slap your mama is a Cajun seasoning blend. You know, if I say Cajun, I'm thinking New Orleans, you know what I mean? So it has to be good. Water is too high in sodium. What do you use if you don't use water? Oh my God, okay. Water is too high in sodium. That is funny. All right, I'm putting my coconut milk in. Water is too high in sodium. Did you really mean to say that? I don't know what that means. Okay. Wow. That is funny. All right. Gonna bring it to a boil. Gonna taste. Make sure my spices are on point. Needs a little more adobo. And if I need to, I can put a little salt later, but oh man, you made my day by saying that. All right. Yeah. Jasmine rice is pretty pricey here in Panama. I was thinking, you know, some of these things, you know, they're kind of indigenous to the region, but I think because they eat so much rice here, maybe the production is kind of has a hard time keeping up with the consumption. More spices, won't be able to follow recipe, can't use more than 4 condiments. Okay, you're a master chef. Can you recommend a restaurant that offers that type of food? Where? You mean here in Panama? And why can't you use more than 4 condiments? Is it a health thing? Is it for health reason? Because, you know, spices are actually good for you, for your blood, because they each do something a little different. You know, like pepper. I put black pepper in my smoothie. I put cayenne pepper in my smoothie. Okay. I'm late. Are you using pigeon peas? Yes, I'm using pigeon peas, which I love pigeon peas. I love the way, I have a video on YouTube where I did rice with pigeon peas, and they usually come out really good. It's missing something, a certain je ne sais quoi. You know, I bought the allspice, Old Bay. Is it Old Bay? I'm not used to using that, and I don't really like the way it tastes in my food, so I haven't been using it a lot. I'm a slap your mama or adobo kind of person, especially for my rice. All right, I'm gonna rinse my rice because I don't want the Caribbean ladies to come after me. You don't wash your rice. Okay, it's good now. That's what meant the water, it can act as a preservative. Oh, but what do you use if you don't use water? Worcestershire sauce. I like Worcestershire sauce. Yep, there you go. I have some, but I use it in my meat. I don't put it in my rice. But I don't use meat, so. Now it's not because I want to, it's because it just doesn't agree with me anymore. Oh my gosh. But I want y'all to know, I'm a cook, and I'm also a nurse. So I'm very health conscious, but I don't go crazy about things. You know, when people say, oh my God, you know, a little bit of this is gonna kill you. I just don't go down that rabbit hole. I try to be as healthy as I can, but when I eat it, it just tears my GI system. And I'm like, it's not worth it, right? You here, but curious. Why should we wash rice anyway? Well, that's what I asked. But there is a saying in Caribbean culture that if you don't wash the rice, it's not clean, right? And some people feel when you wash it, you take away some of the gluten and it's not so sticky. You get more of a grainy type of rice. Even though I tell people, When I don't wash my rice doesn't come out grainy. Sticky. It depends on how much water you use. But anyway. Yeah, and I went to culinary school, and the chefs were like, chefs in school, you don't have to wash meat, especially if you're gonna cook it in the heat, and then you don't have to wash rice. Your vegetables, yes, you wash, but I had a lady get real upset with me over my rice. Oh, whoosh, girl, wash the rice, wash the rice. I'm like, okay, ma'am. But I grew up with my grandmother washing the rice, okay? Rice can grow in some arsenic. It's good to wash. There you go. I'm getting a beauty heat again. So you look at the rice, the water with the pigeon peas. It looks something like this with the water, with the coconut milk. And coconut milk, if you're in the Caribbean, you're gonna have coconut milk in most everything, just like in Thai cooking. And I'm not mad. Coconut is good for you. Why not? All right, I'm putting the rice in here. If you don't wash the rice, oh my gosh, you're committing the unpardonable sin. It's like, yes, ma'am, I will wash the rice. All right. And again, remember, it's 2-to-1 ratio for your rice. 2 parts liquid, 1 part rice, which I find is less for quinoa and bulgur. You need less. The ratio should be less. Less water. So Claude, what do they call what is that? Pishima? I forgot what they call it. What do they call that? My rice is too starchy if I do not wash it. There you go. I buy a huge brown sack of jasmine rice for $20. Oh, wow, that's pretty good. They're a little bit pricier here. But I know when I was in Florida, I could go to the Asian store and get a big bag of rice. Where I come from, we used to have a rice called Madame Gugus, and that was good rice. Oh my God. Oh, Claude, yeah, is it pishima? What do they call that? What do they call that grain in English? Not kashima, pishima. Is it pishima? I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I mean. I forgot what they call it, because bulgur is blé. I know that. You can use the leaf of the guandules, and it's amazing for health. Actually, all these leaves, like soursop and all these things, people, and where I come from, we used to just go pluck them and put them in tea and drink them for everything that ails you. You had a branch that you could boil as a tea. When I used to have a lot of menstrual cramps, yes, we also would go and get some, pluck some leaves somewhere from the ground and boil it. And I remember going on a tour here in Panama, and in close to one of the Indian reservations, and the guy was showing us, he's like, this plant, it works like coumadin. It's a blood thinner. This plant, you take it if you have a cough. This plant, if you have a wound. It just pointed, and I was amazed, because that's what it is. That's where your medications come from. Bitimi, there you go. What do you call that in English? Tea and soursop. Yes, I had my friend who had given me some soursop, and she brought me some leaves. I'm not going to go that far, okay? Yeah, I don't like rice to be too pasty. But then if it's too grainy, sometimes it's not cooked, right? But do you know, when we were making sushi in culinary school, they have a particular, oh, millet. Oh, thank you. Have you bought it in California where you're at? My neighbor. No, my neighbor gave me the soursop leaves. I don't, I'm in a high rise. I don't have access to that. But she bought me a nice soursop like this big, and we split it in half. And when I went to Peru, the soursops are like the size of a grapefruit. And you just slice it and you eat it. They're so sweet, so good. If you're looking for me, I'll be in Peru, because that place, the fruit, the quality of the food, everything tastes amazing. Oh my God, I love it. Love it there. But the lady, yeah, she was like, I was diagnosed with cancer, and then I don't know if she went to see some kind of holistic person, and she said that they put her on a, I didn't watch the whole thing, but the gist of it, she was saying that the soursop leaves cured her cancer. I'm not gonna go and say that to anybody. What if it doesn't? Good book to read and have on hand. Back to Eden. It's like the Bible of herbs. Yeah, they have a bunch of those. And you can even get a certification in that. I know my daughter is into all that, and she wanted to get a certification because herbs are good, but they can be dangerous if you don't take the right amount, and if you start too many together, they can cause some damage. That's why I tell people, as a nurse, I used to always say, when you go to see your doctor, you have to tell him what else you're taking besides what he's recommending, because sometimes your pills come from some leaves, and then you go over there when you see on TV and you're getting some of the other things, then sometimes they contradict, and you can get too much of something, or two different kind of herbs just don't go together. So be careful, okay? People are so into the herbs and all that. It's great, but you got to know what you're taking and how much. Because I've had a bunch of little ladies come to my unit when I was a nurse. Let's say they had like quinoa. Okay. Have you bought it in where you are? Oh, the chicken looks amazing. Okay. It needs to cook for a little bit longer. Yes, so be careful with the herbs, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna put that little bag of rice in my fridge. I had two bags like this of flour. Yesterday I went to open them. Guess what? The little things got in there. I don't know how those things get inside a closed bag of flour, but so I had to throw them away. So I went and had another bag of the Swiss chard. This one was $1.06. Because everything is weighed here. They weigh avocado. They weigh mango. Like, this is weird, but yeah, they do. They do. They don't sell millet. Oh, I don't know. I bought some red and black quinoa from Peru. They're here. I only find them in like 1 pound bag. It's not something that is a thing here in Panama. But it's in those stores that they know people are from other places. And we have a lot of Peruvians here. And in Peru, they eat a lot of quinoa. As you know, it's that's where, it's very prominent. And in Peru, they also have like multiple species of potatoes. Potatoes that look all kind of ways and all different colors. That is the main thing. We're here, we eat a lot of white rice. In Peru, it's like papas, potatoes and corn. They have this corn that grows and it's got, the kernels are like huge. And then they would boil it, and then, you know, if you go somewhere and they're selling them in the bag, I forgot the name of it. They have, it's a specialty of Peru. And then you buy it, and then they give it to you in the bag with the Sino cheese. You know, I had to try it. Whew, it was so good. But they have a name for it. For the, oh, it was so good. It's the food. I didn't get the ceviche because I'm not a ceviche kind of person, but apparently it's the best. And when I made the Swiss chard the other day, it cooked like so fast. So, I don't know, I kind of like it better than spinach now. And I love spinach, but the spinach here is a bit different. It's heartier, and it's not just the leaves, you get the stems as well. Nice. All right, the rice is, everything is going to be done about the same time, which is going to be perfect. Now this I have to let dry, really dry, because otherwise it's going to be pasty and I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to let it soak with a little bit of vinegar, the Swiss chard. Now the remolacha takes a long time to cook. Oh, it's good today. Yay. I like it roasted, but when I look at the time and I was like, oh, I forgot to put it in. But it's cooked now, so I can take it off. But beets, you know, has a resurgence of quinoa in the rice cooker. Very nice. Quinoa is easy to cook, but millet, I have to try it. But you know, I grew up eating this stuff at home. I like quinoa better. And I like brown rice. Sweet peppers, yeah, we got, you mean the bell peppers? Yeah, we got a lot of that here. All right, you're almost done. And if you recall, I always top my rice, not white rice, with a little bit of butter. Monte au beurre, which is what the French call it. And in French cooking, you do that. Like if you're cooking, you're making a sauce, you always put a little butter. Like I tell people, I say, I was doing that all along. Now you have a fancy name for it. Alrighty. So now we're going to let our rice cook. We're gonna turn this down. And again, when you're cooking rice, some people will put like some foil on top, and then before they put the top on it, or I've seen the chefs put the foil, put that on, and put it back in the oven. I don't do that, but you can. You read my mind. I was about to ask what you said was harder than spinach, and then you just repeated it good. Yeah, I love the Swiss chard, and I'm glad I found it. The other thing we cook here a lot is cabbage, repollo. I think they call it repollo. We cook a lot of cabbage here. So cabbage and squash are just all over the place, and I love that stuff. So spinach, I don't, because it's heartier than what you're used to in the bags, this really soft one. I put it more in soups and stews than salad, right? But I could just cook it just like I'm gonna be cooking the Swiss chard, and it cooks just as fast. And you need a little salt, pepper, a little lemon juice. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. So for Easter, what I was going to suggest that we do is, in my home, when my kids were little, we used to always make a frittata. A frittata is just like a quiche minus the crust. And I always like to use sliced potatoes that you would cook on the stove, and when it's halfway done, then you put it at the bottom of your pie shell, right? And then some people would do, you got onions and peppers that you cook, and then you can put some bacon that you've, really chopped and drained, and then you put it at the bottom there, and you put the peppers and onions, and then you add your egg and your cheese on top, and you bake. Yes. And with that, it's like a complete meal, depending on how thick it is, right? It's almost like the quiche Lorraine that I'm going to make for you guys one day. The quiche Lorraine is really thick, but it is rich. And I used to sell it at the restaurant, and I'm like, let me give you a smaller size. They're like, no, bigger. I'm like, whew, that's a lot of cream and stuff. But when you're cooking your eggs like that for a frittata or a quiche, you do want to put a little bit of cream in it. And don't forget the moscato, a little bit of mustard when you're doing quiche. It's key. It just does something to the taste, okay? Don't forget that. And then you put your cheese on top. And then I would do like a side of fresh fruit, usually strawberries, berries, and oranges. And then I do have a recipe for a sauce that I can put over fruit. And then, you do it with yogurt and then cinnamon and stuff like that, and lemon juice. And that's all we used to eat for Easter. It's not the same as Christmas, where we used to have, meat and turkeys and stuff like that. All right, let's check our chicken. I'm gonna turn it over. The one thing I do when I'm cooking here is that I'm putting things in. We're gonna turn it, and then I'm gonna top it with the rest of my marinade. You know, this thing here that I made, it smells so good, you always feel tempted to just eat it. But don't do that. But people put it on their veggies and stuff. Again, I think it's a bit much, but go for it. All right. Let's let this cook for a few more minutes. And we should be good. All right. Swiss chard. And we're also gonna cook this sweet plantain. Maybe I'll do a smaller one, that's big. We don't need that for one plate. I have so many knives now. But I'm so happy I got my chef's knife. Oh my gosh. You would think I was missing a firstborn child. And when you're cooking sweet plantains, unlike the regular plantain, the green one, I don't need to soak it. Hi. Have you ever made or tried spinach patties? Yeah, you could put spinach in anything, really. Maggie, petit meal is also called sorghum in English. My agronomist cousin, oh. So have you ever had it? Yeah, I go know them, they know everything. But millet, when I was growing up, I didn't like cornmeal with peas, which is something that my mom used to make. I did not like that. But this morning I was trying to make acassin. You would know what that means, Claude. I'm still struggling to find the right recipe from what I remember from my childhood. But it's just not working. We used to make this corn porridge when I was growing up. And then they put evaporated milk in it and cinnamon and nutmeg. And then they give you a piece of hot from the oven. My dad was a baker. Bread. Oh, I can't even begin to tell you the memories of how good that was. That was just as good as the patties I used to have when I went to mass with my grandmother. My grandmother used to go to the 4 a.m. mass. Oh my God. But now I would sit in a chair and wait to go with her not because I enjoyed the service, but afterwards when service was over at like 5 o'clock, on the way home, she would stop next to the ladies selling these hot patties that they had just made. Sometimes they'll put codfish in them. Sometimes it's ground beef or it's chicken. And these ladies didn't go to school. But the pastry puff that they made, I had a really nice childhood. I mean, I have to say, I feel sorry for people who talk about, their childhood as being horrible. I don't have that story to tell because my childhood was amazing. I love going to school. I was a straight A student. I loved school. When people talk about bullying in school with the kids, I have no experience with those. Kids were not as mean as they are now. I mean, I watched these kids, beating another kid to death in a bathroom over a boy or something, and the bullying that goes with little kids. I don't have any recollection of that. Why is that? Why is that? Thank you, Greta. Yeah, next Sunday I'm not going to be able to make it because I'm going to Easter service. Yes. You ate that? Oh my God, wasn't that amazing? Yes, like you, I enjoy school too, but I'm talking about the stuff that kids are doing to each other now. I have no recollection of that. You know, kids bullying and calling kids name now. They're online cyberbullying. Little kids are hanging themselves over that stuff. I do not remember any of that. I remember we were starting to get a little bit rebellious in school when I was in high school. I remember one day, because I had nuns. A lot of my teachers were nuns. I went to Catholic school. And I remember one day we were rebelling about something, and the kids kind of turned their desk, you know, backwards just to protest something. I don't remember. But that's the only thing I remember. And I remember because the nuns looked to me as a leader, and when I was part of that, I remember to this day, she called me in the office and she had the most disappointed look on her face. She said, "Maggie, I'm so disappointed. My God, you would have thought she had just pierced my heart with something." I felt so bad. And from then on, and I was like, it's not worth it. You see, I was that sensitive. But kids nowadays, it's like, what? I'm like, children are made of something totally different now. I don't remember that. Because when I was growing up, I grew up in the village that all the parents and the neighbors were watching out for you. So you couldn't get away with anything. I remember, funny story, I was in school and I don't remember if I took something from a student, and then the teacher, of course, was going to tell my mom. And before the teacher could even get to my mom, one of the lady neighbors got wind of it, and I got a whooping over that. And then when my mom came, she took my hand and took me to my mom and told her what she had done to correct the situation. My mom thanked her and whooped me again. This is what we're missing with this generation. You ever see the parents go to the school and act a fool in front of their kids? Right? Being disrespectful to the teacher. And then you have teachers who are just as bad and uncaring. I tell you, this generation, I don't know. It's scary. It's scary. Yes, Mrs. So-and-so took me to my mom and said she corrected the situation, and my mom said thank you and did some more correcting. But the people who have had this type of upbringing, we're kind of different, aren't they? Samoa, I'm doing fine, thank you. I mean, seriously. We are different, right? We move differently. And that's why we try to give our kids, and then because they are, they're grown up here, and then they're like, well, we want this, we deserve this and that, they start talking the same foolish language. And then of course it shows in, whatever they're doing, it shows. That porridge sounds wonderful. In California, Bay Area, there is a large Korean community and many restaurants offer a variety of rice porridges, both savory and sweet. I have not. The one that I'm talking about is corn, but I watched a show here in Panama called Hecho in Panama, and there is a lady who cooks a lot of I don't want to say indigenous, but just dishes that are specifically Panamanian. I watched her make something like that the other day. You boil the water with the canela, with the cinnamon. Then she had this corn, liquid corn. This is the thing I need to get. She had the liquid corn, what do they call it? Like, you know, in water, and she put it in there, and then she added the carnation milk. But what she also added was cornstarch, a lot of cornstarch, which I don't remember us using that. But I think any kind of porridge I would enjoy. Yes, I would. All right, let's get those little sweet plantain done. No, I have not. You know, here I have not been to any Korean restaurants. I went to Chinatown here and tried to get Korean kimchi. And, you know, I was so excited. And then when I got it, and it wasn't Korean kimchi. It wasn't, you know, I was looking for Chinese. No, Korean. Kimchi is Korean. The one I got was Chinese kimchi, and it was not the same. So I'm tempted to learn how to make it, but it seems so labor intensive, and you have to have a certain spices to go in there. And I'm like, But you know what they're telling us now is that fermented food is good for us. Who knew? All right. So kimchi and tofu, all these things are supposedly good for you. I don't like tofu per se, but I made a dish, a bean dish with chickpeas and green peas and edamame, and then I toasted the tofu, and then I added it. Actually, it was pretty good. Raising your kid the same way. Both of my children are well disciplined doing. Well, that's good. I'm happy for you, sir, because what I find is that sometimes you really try really hard, and then the kids just, and that's why I tell people, I no longer blame parents for their kids' behavior, even though some people should not be parents because they just don't care about the kids. But some kids are just, you know, they're just cut from a different cloth. And I'm like, who's your mama? Because I see, did you guys read about the person who left their mother out in the cold in Colorado? And the poor lady lost her life. She froze to death. You know what I was saying? I said, you know how people, you know, they worry or they want to have kids so bad. And I'm like, sometimes these kids are the ones taking you to your grave. It's just a different world we're living in. Fish soup. I love fish soup, Miss Greta. Now, in Panama, the last, you know, Lent, heavy in fish. So this week coming, leading up to Good Friday, it's going to be bananas. I mean, that fish market is bombed, okay? We have all kinds of crustaceans and crabs and lobsters and what is it, the pulpa? What is it? I don't eat that. Oh, the thing with multiple legs and they cut it. I tried that when I was on a cruise one time, and I'm like, no, thank you. I love kimchi. You know, you can put kimchi in anything. I put it in eggs. I put kimchi in rice, and it's so good, so good. I use it also as like a spice, as a flavoring agent, and it does that because it's so heavy in the spices. It's really good for you. You know, cabbage. I love cabbage anyway. My next door neighbor is Korean. Well, boy, you are spoiled. That is so good. Yeah, they love to share. Now, I do want to go to South Korea. There are different things I want to try there. You know, kimchi is one. They have a type of, what do they call it? It's almost like shank. You know, they eat a lot of pork there. Well, you know, I might probably not going to be able to digest it. And then they cook it and fry it, and then, I want to try. So when I go to a country, when I visit, the first thing I want to do is try the food, because to me, I can relate to a country based on the food. That's why, there's another another one. Whew. I had another facial. But that's why I love Peru so much. The food. Listen, I went to a market and they do what they call caldo. They call it caldo, C-A-L-D-O, meaning broth, okay? So they spend time with the broth. So when you go, you look at the broth, they put the beef, they put the bones in there. And then they throw allspice, they put bay leaves, they put carrots. You know, it's like they're doing a broth, they put all the veggies. And then they have some different herbs, fennel and everything they put in there, and then they strain it. That's the caldo. So they'll have those in those big containers. And then if you say caldo de carne, so they'll chop some beef and they'll take the caldo, the broth, and put it in there and put some other things. They have potatoes, of course, potatoes, and other things. You say you want caldo de gallina. They have the chicken cooked over here. Take a few ladles of that broth, put it in there, and that's what they do. And that's why, you know, I've told you before, if you take the time to work on your broth, whatever you're cooking, you halfway there, okay? So that's why you cannot be in a rush. And I guess that's why people go to fast food places and kill yourself with all the fat and everything, okay? Just take time to cook your food. And just like I said, if you have any veggies laying around, put it in a pan, cover it up, and then strain it and put it in those containers. And whatever you're going to cook, put it in there. That's half the battle. Your taste is already well developed. Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm so passionate about that. So that's why if you're going to, you know, I go to a restaurant and I'm tasting and I'm like, that's not worth my money. Why do I have to go back there and eat bad food? Especially if I know back there in that kitchen, I can't vouch for what you're doing, what you put in your food. I mean, I get, just because I know how to cook, all these little packets of seasoning and stuff. I don't like to see that because you don't need to do that to season your food. Salt, pepper, garlic, ginger, herbs, that's all you need. And don't forget your acid. Lemon juice, lime juice. That's all you need. You've seen that pasta thing that people say is the easiest pasta to cook. You cook the pasta, usually you have to put a generous amount of salt, salt like the sea, which is what, you know, in our head. And then you get some olive oil and you chop some garlic and they usually slice it fine. And you throw some fresh parsley or whatever, salt, pepper, and you throw that pasta in there, add a little bit of the pasta water and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Baby, that's all you need. Food doesn't have to be complicated. You guys got me going this morning, sorry. I do get out of my soapbox. I have many soapboxes, so please forgive me. Why is your dinner almost cooked and while watching this video, all I have done is chop my onions and garlic? Because you're distracted by what I'm saying, that's why. Oh, sis, it's okay. No, my food is cooked. Yes, ma'am. Ooh. Guys, you should see that chicken. Okay, I think I'm good now. So I'm now ready to plate. Wow. All right, so I did the little sweet plantain. So we're gonna drain it now on a paper towel. We don't need all that grease. I need to, you know, I'm looking for like one of those square dinner plates. And I'm not being too, oh, this is nice. But I was looking for like a dinner plate size. I haven't been able to find them here. Because I'm definitely not gonna buy like an 8, you know, piece set of china. No. Who wants to be going through that again? I just left that. We're not gonna go back to that. No. All right. So I'm gonna slice my beets. My beet, I only cooked one, but beet has made a comeback. People are into beet juices. And this is the thing with me and juicing. I'd rather just steam the thing and eat it instead of, you know, put everything in a blender and stuff. It's okay. All right, let's check the rice. The chicken is done. We're gonna take the bouquet out and the hot pepper. Okay. Okay. You see the rice? It's not pasty, it's grainy, okay? So it has to do with how much water you put, and you got to kind of watch it. And you know, I think also it depends on the pan that you're using, because some pans tend to make your food pasty. And that's why we use these pans. Okay. I'm just gonna slice the remolacha. 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 I'm always messing the name of people's stuff. That's not good. Okay, I think this plate would be a bit too small. Okay, well, I've been using that blue plate. Well, maybe. Okay, well, I have this one. We're gonna try to use this one today. So, what we want to do with this one, we're gonna put our rice. We're gonna do the Swiss chard, the chicken, maybe Swiss chard, and then some of that, the beets. And let's see. Let's put this down so you guys can see. Oh, there we go. All right. All right. Because, you know, cooking is only the first part. You have to know how to plate. We had to be graded on that too. I think it's a nice way to measure how much rice you're taking, because sometimes people just eat way too much rice. And I know in my culture we do too. I mean, it's like real rice with a little bit of whatever. Okay? Now, this thing, we never used to mold out our rice like that, so I'm not gonna be too concerned about it. So it's like I needed something a little bit larger. Because if I was putting the chicken on top of it, it probably would have fallen. So you're always gonna see the chefs doing that, cleaning their plate, because that's important. So if somebody brings you food from a fancy restaurant and it's not clean on the side, You can ding them a point or two because that is not acceptable, okay? All right. We're gonna put, I think I'm gonna do the remolacha first, which is the beets. Now you know you're getting nutrition here, right? Because beets are good for you. Remolacha. It stains, but it's okay. And the Swiss chard. I'm just trying to get a little bit of an elevation here. Then we're gonna put our chicken. Where is my, oh, okay. My tongue. Ooh. More steam. All right. This is our chicken, jerk chicken. Trying to put 2 pieces. Oh my God. Maggie, you have done it again. I'll make sure it doesn't fall over. So now, how are we going to decorate? Okay. Now, a lot of, Caribbean people are into a lot of gravy and stuff. I am not personally, but I'm going to, this meat is so moist because remember, I left it in the oven and I didn't touch it, so all the juices are here. So I'm just gonna put, I'm decorating with some of that cilantro and maybe a slice of lime. Maybe that's too much. Right there. Lime wedges, because this is the Caribbean. We use lime, we don't use lemon. Oh, okay. I forgot my little sweet plantain. Okay, we could do a little decorating right here. And there we go. Perfect. Oh my gosh. I did it again. How about that, guys? Look at that. That is restaurant worthy, what, isn't it? See. Oh, because it not only looks good, you know it tastes good because I cooked it and you watched me cook it. Look at that. You eat with your eyes. Always remember that. Your food is a reflection of you. Holy Week. Have a good Easter. Yes. Oh, it tastes good, sweetheart. Trust me. Because you've seen me cook it. It only has good natural stuff in it. All right? Okay. Bye. Oh, I always do that.